Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist, and I help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It is in approximately 1 in 5 women, and it makes you want to break up with your partner approximately 1 to 2 weeks before your period every single month. So as someone who has suffered with PMDD for over 18 years, I dedicated my doctorate practice to helping partners navigate those monthly PMDD breakups with everything from attachment styles, triggers, sensitivity to noise, sensitivity to touch, all of the things that you really struggle with when you're in PMDD. And I also dedicated my dissertation to a phenomenological study of the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who suffer with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So I'm not just here to help the sufferer, the one who is suffering with PMDD. I am here for the partners as well. So if you need those private sessions, make sure you go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those tools. So let's get into this week's PMDD trauma transformational tools that is going to help you stop the monthly breakups and stop the suffering and stress in your PMDD relationship. Let's get into it. Today, I want to talk about part 2 of what makes a supportive PMDD partner. And I just want to start off with saying I'm on day 13 of PMDD. I think it's so amazing that so many of you ask me, do you record when you're in PMDD? How do you run your business when you're in PMDD? And I wanted to share a little bit more about that because a lot of what I do, the majority of what I do is when I'm in PMDD, and I use every phase of my cycle, whether I'm in PMDD, in my luteal phase, in my follicular phase, in my ovulation phase, and menstruation. And I use that to communicate the tools that I have for you. But a lot of what helps with that, and a lot of what has helped in the past, is having a community in my life, a community in my life that has provided me with certain characteristics. And this is what's really going to help you today about what it means to operate when you're in PMDD, right? How many times have you been in situations where you've had a lot going on? Maybe you've had a lot going on with the kids. Maybe you've had a lot going on in life, and you just needed more support from your partner. And when they have been supportive, when they've done the things that have, been supportive for you, it's helped you to show up in all of those other ways when you're in PMDD. And I know one of the biggest complaints, which is why I'm doing this series, is you come to me and you say, I just need my partner to be more supportive, or you tell your partner, I need you to be more supportive. And the partner really doesn't know what that looks like. And a lot of times you may not know what that looks like, but today we're going to break it down for the next one. And that is having a nurturing PMDD partner. So this is something that was really, really hard for me personally, because I'm used to being the one that is able to do all the things. I'm a very, independent person, and I'm used to taking care of a lot of other people. I'm a caregiver myself. I'm very, I'm a servant leader. With everything I do, I'm wanting to serve other people, that I'm wanting to give to them. And so when you're in PMDD, there are times where you just need to allow your partner to give to you. And I know how hard this is, specifically for a high functioning PMDD partner, meaning you're the one doing all the things. You like to stay busy to distract yourself from the suffering. And so when your partner tries to help you, you're the individual that's like, I got this, I'll just do it myself. Or you automatically feel like, I don't want to ask my PMDD partner to do something, because if they don't do it the way that I want them to do it, it's just going to trigger me. And then we're going to end up in a fight and an argument, because I'm not going to show appreciation for what it is that they're doing, because they're technically not doing it right, because they're not doing it the way that I would do it. So it's almost like you're wanting a more supportive PMDD partner. You're wanting support, but you're not knowing what that looks like, because you're not wanting to allow them to do the task in a way that feels natural and good to them. You're wanting them to do it as if they're a clone of you. And so the first thing that I would tell you is that when you want your PMDD partner to help you, when you want them to be more supportive, you have to first and foremost understand that it is not going to be the way that it looks like for you. They're not going to do it exactly how you do it. And that doesn't mean that they're not being supportive. It doesn't mean that they're not trying. It doesn't mean that they don't love you. It doesn't mean that they're trying to disrespect you or trigger you or any of those things. It just means you have a partner that is not you. And so when you're saying you want a supportive PMDD partner, you have to understand that it's going to look different. And so I want you to focus on the intentionality. I want you to focus on the effort. I want you to focus on when you think about getting triggered by your PMDD partner because you asked them to do something and they didn't do it the way that you wanted them to do it. Maybe you said, hey, babe, honey, sweetie, whatever you call them, can you cook dinner tonight? And they cooked it and they burnt it. Or they didn't cook it at all. They ordered it out. They ordered the food out, right? And you're like, I cook home cooked meals every single week and I wanted them to help me. So and they ordered food. They ordered takeout. I don't want the family to have takeout. I want them to have a home cooked meal. Well, if that's not their strong suit, if they're not a good cook, then maybe they were trying to, not cause you to suffer with their cooking and they're wanting to just provide you with food. I want you to really just think about, did you eat? If the answer is that you ate, then focus on that. Don't focus on the fact that it doesn't look exactly like you would want it to look. And number one, don't think that they're doing it on purpose. A lot of times when we're in PMDD and they trigger us because, they're not doing things exactly the way that we would want them to do it. You may think that, your partner's doing it on purpose and you may begin to get upset with them. Like they know I wanted to have chicken tonight, or they know that I didn't want the kids to, have junk food or eat pizza, but they ordered the pizza anyway. Right. Instead of immediately judging them, have that conversation with them and really say, number one, I want you to be grateful when you're having this conversation. I don't want you to go in there where you're trying to tell them off, right? Remember, I believe in calling your PMDD partner out, meaning addressing the issues that you have, but you're not doing it to make them feel bad. So you're not like, why do you do this? Why are you like this, right? When you start approaching your PMDD partner like there's something wrong with them and they're always doing something wrong and they're just never meeting the mark, like they're so close to meeting the mark, but then they're not, they're going to stop being supportive. They're going to stop doing the things because they're going to begin to think, it doesn't matter what I do, you're going to criticize me. So I might as well just not do anything. Because if I'm already going to get criticized, I might as well just not, exert any effort at all. So when I realized that a lot of PMDD partners, like who are successful in their relationships, they're nurturing. So when I was writing my dissertation and I was doing interviews with hundreds of partners of PMDD sufferers, one of the main qualities that a lot of them had who had been in those long-term relationships is they were nurturing. They were a caretaker, and being nurturing is very selfless. It's not self-serving. It is the antithesis of a narcissist. A narcissist is always looking to get their needs met. And if you need, help on that, look back at previous episodes. I'll tell you about, what that looks like in PMDD relationship. But the reason why I want to bring up a narcissist is because it's the opposite of having a nurturing PMDD partner. A narcissist will seek to serve themselves. They are looking to get their needs met by any means possible. You as the partner are their source. So your sole purpose for existing within their life is to serve their needs, is to fill some void, is to be there for them, do for them. And so when you begin to suffer in PMDD, they're going to cause you to suffer because you're not showing up as they want you to be and as they need you to be. Because a narcissist needs you to be on 100% all of the time so that they can get their needs met. It doesn't feel good to them when you're in that position of you're less than, you're kind of like at 50%. So say if you have this high energy, affectious personality, and you're like always open, always loving, very affectionate and all of these things, and then you go into PMDD and all of a sudden you're very, internal, you're very like, kind of like you're suffering internally and you're not giving as much to them as far as to meet your partner's needs. So for a narcissist, they're going to begin to get triggered by that. They're going to try to force you to show up in a way that makes them feel good by any means possible. Well, the opposite of that, a supportive PMDD partner has this quality of being nurturing. They're looking to meet your needs, right? So being a nurturing PMDD partner in the relationship means they're trying to provide care. They're trying to provide support for you. They're encouraging you. They're making sure that you have everything that you need. And it's a very selfless thing. So like I said, when I was doing my dissertation, one of the qualities that I found that was very common was that, the partners weren't concerned so much with themselves. They weren't neglecting their needs, but there was a hierarchy to it. They understood that because the PMDD sufferer was in fact suffering, that they took precedence in that particular time, right? So not all month long, but they said they looked at it. And I remember I had one PMDD partner, and he said, I looked at my partner when she was in PMDD as if she was in a hospital and she was sick. And so I became this caregiver of, and not in a demeaning way, not in a way of saying that, oh, she can't do all of these things, but it was a matter of understanding, this is a disability. And he was saying, if she had cancer or she had some kind of other, disorder or condition that was more outwardly appearing, that I would be treating her with the level of care that is nurturing. I would be making sure that she has everything that she needed. And so I'm going to show you what a nurturing PMDD partner looks like. And then I'm going to tell you the benefits of not only being a nurturing PMDD partner, but having a nurturing PMDD partner. So the first thing that a nurturing PMDD partner has is the ability to have empathy. Empathy is so important. And that means that you comprehend, you understand that your partner is suffering, the one who has PMDD. And you're giving your partner a safe place to express their suffering and their emotions without judging them for it. So you understand that your PMDD partner is suffering in PMDD, and you're not looking to say, oh, you're always like this when you're in PMDD. I'm never getting love. I'm never getting attention. You're not shifting your mood because your needs aren't getting met, because you know that your partner's suffering. Because there's this intrinsic belief that, and there's this acknowledgement that if my partner could show up like she does in her follicular days, she would. I think that's the basis of the understanding that the nurturing PMDD partner has, is they're able to look at how their partner acts in their follicular days when they're not suffering in PMDD, and they see that they're so loving, and they see that they're so open, and they see these things, and they have this level of understanding that, okay, so I'm pretty sure that if my partner had the ability to be that way all the time, they would, versus thinking that because they're showing up less than in their luteal phase, they're intentionally causing you to suffer. You don't look at them like that. You look at them like they're suffering right now, and that's why they're showing up this way. And I'm going to do my best not to have empathy and understanding to change them, not to pull them out of PMDD, but to be with them in PMDD. I'm going to repeat that. When you're a nurturing PMDD partner, you're not trying to pull them out of PMDD. You're trying to be with them in PMDD. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is, a lot of times as partners who want to get to that place of hurrying up and getting their needs met again, they're doing it for the sole purpose of, let me do something to make them snap out of it, right? So this is where the narcissistic tendencies come in, where a lot of partners, they're not being nurturing to you because they genuinely want to be nurturing to you. They're being nurturing because they're trying to get their needs met. They're trying to hurry up and meet your needs so that they can get their needs met. It's a bit of a quid pro quo, is what they talk about in the legal system. So I'm a paralegal as one of my many, many professions. And in the legal system, the quid pro quo is this for that. I'm going to do this for you, so you do this for me. It's that saying, I scratch your back, you scratch my back kind of thing. Well, when you're a nurturing PMDD partner, you're not worried about getting your back scratched. You're worrying about scratching your partner's back. And sometimes that's literal. You're literally scratching their back, right? But you're worried about being there for them as if they're suffering in this condition, in PMDD. And the next thing that a supportive PMDD partner does when they're nurturing is they validate their feelings. They validate the fact that you're in PMDD. They're not questioning, they're not being suspicious about whether you're in PMDD or not. They're not thinking that you're strategically saying that you're in PMDD because you don't want to be intimate with them. They're not thinking that you're being sneaky. They're not thinking that you're switching the days around. Again, this is another narcissistic tendency, is to criticize you, to be suspicious of your suffering in PMDD, because they're thinking that you're just saying that so that they don't get their needs met. Like, say, for instance, a narcissist will want to get their needs met in an intimate way, right? Say if they want to be intimate with you, they want to have sex with you, they want affection from you, they want all of these things, right? Rightfully so, you're in a relationship. There's nothing wrong with that. Here's where it goes in the wrong direction is you say something to the effect of, you express your emotions that you're suffering in PMDD, however you say it. Babe, I'm really tired right now, right? One of the symptoms of being in PMDD is chronic fatigue. So you may tell your partner, I'm really tired right now. I don't have it in me. Well, you may say, because I'm suffering in PMDD. Well, the narcissist may say, are you sure you're suffering in PMDD, or you just don't want to have sex? I know you're saying this. You don't want to have sex with me. You don't want to be intimate with me, right? So they're not validating your feelings. They're invalidating your feelings. They're making you prove that you're in PMDD. And that's the reason why they're not getting their needs met. They're so focused on what you're not doing that they're not really validating your feelings and your emotions of that, the fact that you're suffering in PMDD. So a nurturing PMDD partner validates your feelings and your experiences. You may say, you're coming home from work, or or they're coming home from work and you've been taking care of the kids and all these things. And you may say, I'm just so tired right now. Like, can you take over with taking care of the kids, or can you cook dinner, or all of these things? And they may say, like, oh, I'm suffering too, right? Instead of validating your feelings and your experience of being in PMDD, they may counter that and say, like, oh, I had a hard day too. Like, you think you're the only one that's suffering just because you're the one that has PMDD? Again, that is a narcissistic tendency, right? And so we talked about that in previous episodes, that when your partner is in that place of just solely trying to get their needs met, like narcissists do, they don't have the ability to validate your feelings because they're so busy talking about their feelings. Everything always comes back to the narcissist. Everything always comes back to what they're feeling. If you try to talk about your emotions and your suffering in PMDD, they're countering it with what they have going on, right? Especially if they have another disorder other than NPD, which is narcissistic personality disorder. If they have, OCD, PTSD, ADD, ADHD, all of these other disorders, you may say, babe, I'm suffering in PMDD right now, so I'm not able to do this. Oh, well, I'm suffering with my anxiety. I'm suffering with my depression. I'm suffering with my, seasonal depression. Did you see that it's raining outside? Like, I need stuff too. Like, they're never able to come outside of themselves and really be there to support you and to be nurturing to you, because they're so busy talking about themselves and their own internal suffering. So the narcissist is always going to be able to find something wrong with what they have going on in their experience in their life. And it's going to become like almost like a competition of who's suffering the worst. And so you kind of get to that place where you get a little bit isolated because you feel like, I can't really express myself. I can't really say what's bothering me, because all they're going to do is counter it with what's bothering them. So it causes you to shut down and to stop talking about your feelings, because you feel like they're never going to be valid, because they're always going to be in comparison to the partner who has narcissistic tendencies. And so the next way that your partner is a supportive PMDD partner and they have the quality of being nurturing is they're providing you with practical support, right? What does that look like? When you're suffering in PMDD, they're helping out with the chores. They're helping out with taking care of the kids. They're encouraging you to have private sessions with me, right? I've had so many partners, which I love and adore, that they've reached out to me and they're like, Dr. Rose, my partner really needs to have sessions with you. I bought this package. Are you available on these days to have sessions with them? And they've literally bought monthly packages because they know that their partner is going to be suffering. And they're like, while she's in PMDD, I want her to be able to get the support that she needs. So I'm gifting her, these sessions. And initially, this can be really hard to take on because the partner who is suffering in PMDD may not want to have the sessions because they don't want to feel like they're getting a handout. They don't want to feel like they're less than. They don't want to feel like, oh, so you're saying something is wrong with me. Well, when you have a nurturing PMDD partner, it's not about that. It's not about judging you. It's not about criticizing you. It's about, I want you to feel your best. And I know by you getting help in this particular area, that it's going to make you feel better. Because when you have a nurturing PMDD partner, they do not allow you to have untreated PMDD. And what I mean by untreated means you don't have access to a practitioner that you can call on any set day within those, 7 to 10 to 14 days that you're suffering. You don't have someone that is your actual doctor that you're working with, that you can talk things through, that if you have intrusive thoughts that are going on in the relationship, and if you have anxiety and you're overthinking and you're paranoid, like having me as that professional support means when you're my private client, you have direct email access to me 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I have private clients in over 60 countries, right? So I'm very responsive to what it is that's going on with you. I'm very aware that a lot of times if you're suffering in PMDD, it may be your night, but guess what? It's my day. And when you know that you have that professional support, that's someone that you're not just, talking about on the forum about like how much you're suffering. Because yes, it's helpful to be able to have a community where you're just talking about your suffering. But what really helps is having an individual that is there to provide you tools with your suffering. Because if you just sit there and talk about how bad you feel, you're just going to feel worse because you have nothing to do about it. And so a nurturing PMDD partner is going to make sure that you have that level of professional support for you. So if that's something that you need help with, go to my website, inlovewithpmdd.com, and get those monthly private packages. I can only take a limited amount, per month. And once those slots fill up, you can add on to my waiting list for the next month. But having that level of professional support is really important, not just for you, but also for your partner, because a lot of times your partner is wanting to help you. They're wanting to do something. And I've seen this so many times, and I think it's beautiful that partners are wanting to be there for the one that's suffering in PMDD, but they just don't know how. So reaching out to me and getting those private sessions is a way that you can be nurturing, so that when your partner is going through something and you've gone to the extent of providing the support as much as you can, then you're able to say, you know what, like I've been there for you. I've provided that practical support. I removed stuff from your plate. And now I think you need to talk to Dr. Rose because she's going to be able to help you. She talks to hundreds of PMDD sufferers, of PMDD partners, and she's going to know what to tell you that's really just going to make you better and us better. And so the next thing that a nurturing PMDD partner does is they provide that emotional support. So they're there to listen. Like I said, they're there to listen. They're there to comfort you. They're there to reassure you during your PMDD episodes. If you're going through PMDD rage, they're in that place where they're not, I've heard this so many times, and this can be taken a lot of different ways. I've heard, PMDD sufferers saying, Dr. Rose, I just don't want my partner to take things personally. If they just didn't take things personally, we wouldn't have any issues. So I know what you're talking about. What you're saying is, I want to be able to have these PMDD episodes. I want to be able to go off on PMDD rage. I want to be able to break down crying. I want to be able to do whatever I feel like I need to do in the moment. And then I don't have to deal with the backlash of those actions from my partner because they're understanding that I'm in PMDD. So number one, I understand exactly what you mean, and that would be the easiest route to go to. But on the flip side of that, I do not condone verbal or emotional abuse to your partner just because you have PMDD. Remember what I always say, PMDD is not our fault, but it is our responsibility to manage. I'm going to repeat that. PMDD is not our fault. We didn't ask for this, but it is our responsibility to manage. So you don't have a get out of jail free card to go off on your PMDD partner in PMDD rage just because you're suffering. Do you feel like it? Absolutely. Are you triggered? Absolutely. It's the same thing that if your partner came to me and they were triggered because maybe you were shut down in PMDD or whatever, I would not give them permission to go off on you because you're not acting in a way that feels good to them. As the partner that doesn't have PMDD, I wouldn't say, hey, it's fine if you want to go off on them because they're not showing up as their best because they're suffering in PMDD. I would never give either partner permission to go off on each other or to treat each other with disrespect or to verbally, physically, emotionally, mentally abuse your partner just because you're suffering. Both of you are suffering. When PMDD is involved, both of you are suffering, and neither one of you have permission to damage each other because you're suffering. The goal of you being here and listening to my podcast and having private sessions with me and being in the Breaker Proof Academy is getting the tools that you need that is going to help you to manage PMDD within your relationship, right? So when your nurturing PMDD partner is in those PMDD episodes with you, they're helping you cope with the PMDD mood swings. They're helping you cope with the anxiety. They're helping you cope with the depression. They're helping you cope with it. They're not judging you for it. They're not criticizing you for it. They're not throwing it back up in your face. They're recognizing what it is, but they're choosing to be there to nurture you through whatever it is that you're going through. And the next way that a nurturing PMDD partner is supportive is the educational aspect. One of the things that I admire, and I have a guest coming up on actually another podcast. It's been there in the past, and then they're coming back, Chris, and I call him the PMDD guru because he's a partner who educated himself so much on all things PMDD. And when you have a nurturing PMDD partner, they take the time to educate themselves on your symptoms, on your triggers, on the different treatments that are out there. They offer this informed support and encouragement. How many times have you gotten frustrated because you've tried to tell your partner that you're suffering and you're trying to tell them that you're having these symptoms and you're spending so much time explaining it to them that is literally causing you to suffer even more? When you're in PMDD, you have brain fog. You have forgetfulness. You have a lot of things that it's hard for you to communicate. You may feel like you're speaking and it's not really making a lot of sense. And you're wanting to communicate your suffering, but you're not able to do it in the moment. Well, a nurturing PMDD partner is going to take it upon themselves to educate themselves on all things PMDD and really looking to find out what is it that they can do that can ease your suffering. They're taking the educational aspect. And that's another thing that I found within when I was writing my dissertation is that when I got my doctorate in PMDD and I had to interview all of these partners, a lot of them had done a lot of education. And again, I know that there's not a lot of literature out there, which is why I published my dissertation in PMDD relationships, that there's not a lot of literature out there, but they were doing their best to investigate. Okay, my PMDD, partner who suffers with PMDD, they have this symptom. What is best, with this symptom? What can I do? And I take a holistic route with PMDD. I know a lot of you have asked me a lot of times, what do you take? Do you take SSRIs? Are you on birth control? I take a holistic approach, which means I don't take any over-the-counter prescriptions. I'm not on birth control. And so a lot of my things that I do are very individual based with whatever I'm experiencing in the moment. If I have chronic fatigue, I'm getting more rest, or I'm choosing to have a routine where I'm moving my body so that I can get the energy that I need. Like, I'm basically treating my symptoms very individualistically. And so a supportive and a nurturing PMDD partner will pay attention to what I'm doing to cause myself to suffer less, and they're going to support that. That is very important. That it goes into the next thing that a nurturing PMDD partner does is they have that communication aspects where they're communicating with you and they're saying, like, what makes you feel best when you're in PMDD? They want to know, because every month in PMDD is different. So they're communicating to you, what is it that you think that you need, and they're being open and honest. And this is on both sides where you're both being open and honest. Like, I'm suffering right now. Like, I wish I could go out and do this, and I wish I could go out and do that, but like, babe, I'm not feeling it right now. Or, I'm feeling like I'm irritable. I just need some space. And so when you have a nurturing PMDD partner, there is an aspect of having that open communication where they're not taking it personal, right? Like, I know for me, when I go into PMDD, I get a very avoidant attachment style in relationships. I just need space a lot of times. And I realized over the years why that is. I have figured out how to make myself feel better in PMDD, but it's very hard for me to do that if that means I'm taking away from what I would do for my partner. I'm giving it to myself, and my partner's making me feel bad about it. So I start to avoid a partner that doesn't give me space. So what I noticed with my ex-partner is that I would get avoidant because it was always an issue when I wanted to take space. But when I've been in other relationships and I've been in friendships and I've had relationships, period, I don't normally have an avoidant attachment style because when I've had nurturing people, nurturing partners within my PMDD relationships, if I tell them I need space, they're not taking it personally. They're not think that I'm trying to cause them to suffer. They don't think that me going internal means I'm trying to take away from them in a way that's malicious. They're saying, oh, it's because you're in PMDD. I have a best friend, Angie, and when I'm in my follicular days, we're talking all the time. Like, we're talking all the time, we're communicating. I'm very upbeat, I'm very happy, I'm all the things. And then when I go into PMDD, like, sometimes I may put my phone on do not disturb, and I may get to this point where I don't want to talk all the time. Like, even if it's on a routine basis and we talk every morning, I may have some mornings where I don't want to talk because I'm suffering so much that I'm just doing the things that I know that make me feel better. And I don't, and that doesn't involve talking to even someone that's like my best friend. And she's nurturing to me because as long as we have that open communication and I'm able to say, oh, I'm in PMDD, I'm just not feeling it. There's this level of like, oh, okay, no worries, I understand. Right. So a nurturing PMDD partner is not going to feel like you're attacking them or you're maliciously doing something to them because you're choosing to do what makes you feel better in PMDD. Because at the end of the day, if I wasn't suffering, I wouldn't have to do these things, right? There's this level of understanding, like, I'm not choosing to not be, open and friendly and communicative with you like I am in my follicular days. I'm suffering. And if I wasn't suffering, I would be more than happy to be like I am in my follicular days. So it's not malicious, it's not suspicious. But again, going back to the narcissist will take a lot of the things that you do as far as self-care is concerned, and they'll think that you're doing it to maliciously damage them. Why? Because as you give to yourself, you're taking away from what you're giving to them. And instead of them appreciating that balance and being glad that you're participating in self-care and glad that you're doing things that make you feel better, they're like, oh, how much longer? Because they're just waiting for you to be their source again. They're waiting for you to fill their cup again. And so that's the next thing that a nurturing PMDD partner does is they encourage your self-care. I'm a big advocate of massage therapy when I'm in PMDD. I get weekly massages. I believe massages take a lot of trauma out of your body. I had my best friend Malika on the podcast, the one that's with me with all of my Breakup Proof Academy retreats. And she's amazing at releasing the trauma in your body, the trauma that is held, the tension that is held, the stress that is held in your body, right? Because I can't speak it out. I can't just say, oh, trauma, get out of my body. I need hands on my body to be able to massage it out, to be able to be intuitive. And so massage therapy is an amazing aspect of self-care. And you would want a nurturing PMDD partner to support that, to encourage you, babe, go get that massage. Maybe they pay for you to have a membership. There's so many spas around, the area around the world that have monthly massage packages, right? Or there's so many things you can do. One of my friends recently told me about a float tank. And it's like when you go in this tank and you just float in water and everything's really quiet. I had another friend talk to me about, the sound baths, where you go to this place and you literally go there and they play the sound bath and you just lay there. If you have misophonia, I would be very careful with doing that. That's the sensitivity to noise, but it's calming, right? And it helps you with a lot of things, such as getting enough sleep that you need. When you have these self-care routines and activities in your day-to-day life, it helps you. A supportive and a nurturing PMDD partner knows if you have an exercise routine where you're moving your body every day, or you're meditating and you're journaling, they're reminding you. They're not making you feel bad for taking the time out to do the things. They're like, babe, did you get your workout in? You want me to watch the kids while you go work out? You want me to watch the kids while you go take a walk? You want me to move the kids and go take them to get some ice cream while you journal? Like, that's a nurturing PMDD partner. That's a supportive PMDD partner. Like, think about how amazing that would be if you found things that are self-care related that are helping you with PMDD, and your partner is so invested in your self-care that they're helping you do it. Right? They're helping you do the things that are making you feel your best. And so the last way that, your PMDD partner can be nurturing and supportive is they have this unconditional love and acceptance for who you are as a person despite your PMDD. What does that mean? Unconditional love. It's one of those things where it is, again, the opposite of being in a relationship with a person that has a narcissistic tendency, where the narcissist will love bomb you, tell you you're amazing, tell you you're the best thing since sliced bread, be really affectionate, be really open with you. But as soon as you don't meet their needs, you're a piece of crap, you're selfish, you're manipulative, you're the narcissist. There's all of these criticisms that you get once their needs aren't getting met. So when you have a nurturing PMDD partner, there's this unconditional love. And what I mean by that, the unconditional love and acceptance, it's not allowing your partner to treat you like crap and you just taking it. So I don't want you to like misinterpret what I'm saying and saying like, oh, well, if I'm a supportive PMDD partner, that means I'm taking the abuse from my partner and I'm taking it in stride and I'm not complaining about it. That's not what I'm saying. Remember, abuse, verbal, physical, mental, emotional abuse is not an excuse because PMDD is involved. What I mean by unconditional love and acceptance, it is reassuring to them that they're loved and that they're understood, and that you understand that they're suffering in PMDD and you love them anyway. And not love them anyway like you're doing them a favor, but you're reminding them of all of the things about them that are amazing, the things that we forget about ourselves when we're in PMDD. Because when we're in PMDD, we have the tendency to be really hard on ourselves. Like, we're really hard and we almost feel like we don't deserve to be loved, like we're damaged goods and all of these things. Well, when you have a nurturing PMDD partner, they see the best in you. They see the core of who you are. They see your true intentions. They know that who you are in your follicular phase is who you truly are. And so they're always reminding you, babe, you're amazing. You're caring, you're doing the best that you can, right? They're nurturing your self-esteem. And so the biggest thing that I want to have you take away from all of this about having a supportive, nurturing PMDD partner is it's reciprocal. It is not one-sided, right? Remember, this is why I gave you the examples of the narcissist. The narcissist, once their needs met, they're not really concerned with meeting your needs unless it comes back to them getting more of what it is that they want. They're doing it for the purpose of getting something back. What I'm teaching you right now about being a nurturing PMDD partner, when if you've listened to all of the tools that I've given you right now of what that looks like, and you know that your partner is nurturing, give it back. If you're the partner that has PMDD, give it back. Be nurturing to your partner. Do not get into that selfish mentality that we have the ability to get into because we're so focused on our suffering and it's about us and my anxiety and my depression and my chronic fatigue and my body aches and my body image and my. Give it back so that your partner can continue to be nurturing to you, so that they continue to be supportive. Because what happens when they're the ones that are giving to you and being nurturing, they're going to stop. They're going to stop at some point because they're going to feel like it's not appreciated. Do not criticize your PMDD partner for the way that they're being nurturing towards you. If you find that they're doing things that, they're cooking the dishes the wrong way, like, that's not how I wanted you to make the lasagna. That's not how I wanted you to do. Instead of criticizing them, thank them. Be grateful for their efforts. Because if you don't, they're going to stop the efforts. A lot of times when private clients come to me and they say, my partner's not supportive and they're not nurturing and they're not intuitive and they're not all these qualities that you're talking about, I strongly believe, and you can think about this, at one point in your relationship, they were doing the things, but you were criticizing them. You were being ungrateful. You were not acknowledging them. You were not literally intentionally saying, babe, I really appreciate that you're doing that. I really appreciate, your position in my life. I don't know what I would do without you. Like, you're not giving them those words of affirmation. You're not doing it. So they stop and you complain because they stop. But I want you, in order to get them to continue to be nurturing, to continue to be supportive, support them. Lean into their world. Just like they're leaning into your PMDD world, you lean into their world, see what's going on with them, and you both begin to be nurturing PMDD partners. I'm never going to give tools for just the PMDD sufferer or just a partner. This is for the both of you. This is for the both of you. Everything that I'm asking you to do is to pour into each other so that you can be nurturing and supportive partners to the both of you so that you both get your needs met. So until next time, we got this. I hope this PMDD episode helped you and your partner in your struggles within your relationship. And if this is something that you know that you need help with and you need further support, individualized support, make sure you're going to inlovewithpmdd.com and you're getting those private sessions to really work through what you're going through in your relationship, specifically in regards to PMDD. And also, I want you to leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. What this does is it helps other PMDD sufferers and partners find this show that can help them get these free PMDD relationship tools. I remember what it felt like to not know that there were tools out there specifically for PMDD relationships. So I want to make sure that you are sharing these tools with others, share them on your social media, share them with people that you know that are also struggling in their PMDD relationships. Until next episode, this is Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. One more thing, I almost forgot. I now have the Fresh Start PMDD Partners Workbook. What this workbook can do is, if you've had past traumatic experiences with your partner, past fights, past arguments, and they keep coming up every single month in PMDD, I created a Fresh Start Workbook so that you can deal with all of the traumatic experiences that have happened in the past in PMDD rage and all of these things, so you can stop going through the same cycle again and again and again. So get that workbook. It comes with a video episode of the actual podcast that I recorded on getting a fresh start in your PMDD relationship, so you're not continuing the same cycle again and again and again. So make sure that you get that workbook. And if you need those individualized counseling sessions, you know where to go, inlovewithpmdd.com. Until next time, we got this. Love you.